for those of you who are new here, welcome to my channel where I grace ambitious women with all things self-love. Now, I know why you clicked on this video. You're either frustrated with your current self-care routine or haven't quite figured out what works best for you. Now, if this is the case, I've got you covered. There are 4 key realizations that I learned about self-care that I wish I knew when I started my journey. And I will not let you continue your journey without knowing them too. So don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to help you unlock what's been missing and get you to a self-care routine that feels both authentic and fulfilling. Let's get started. Self-care is not just about how you look and feel physically. It's also about how you're supporting yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. A lot of the times we neglect ourselves and we don't even realize that we're doing it. When we focus so much on the physical, it can be really easy to forget that we're multifaceted beings. The same way we have physical needs, we also have needs that need to be met internally. So aside from the physical stuff, one of the things we have to be mindful of and assess is how we're supporting ourselves emotionally. Emotional self-care is a big one because I know you've heard that you can't pour from an empty cup. And when we're supporting our loved ones, we need to be able to do so from a position of sincerity and emotional strength. A big thing that I've started to do to check in with myself emotionally is to journal. And I don't necessarily journal every day, but I do make the intentional effort to check in with myself every day. I've been slowly trying to get into the routine of journaling every day, but I haven't been pushing myself to do it. To get started, it was more so about slowly building the routine and getting into the habit of putting my thoughts onto paper. When I write, I don't necessarily write at the same time every day, but this may be helpful for some people to do, especially when it comes to starting to build the routine. What I do is I write when I'm inspired, when I'm celebrating a win, big or small, and when I'm feeling a big emotion. The last one is very important because it helps to be able to write out your feelings and hash out why exactly you're feeling them. And it makes it a lot easier to do so when you write it down on a piece of paper or even on your phone. Becoming aware of the big emotions that affect you doesn't have to be hard, but you do have to make the intentional effort to become aware of them and figure out how you're going to move forward. By doing this, you become the empowered one and your emotions don't rule over you. When it comes to giving attention to your mental self-care, a big thing that will really help is to take note of how much you're taking on. Your level of productivity and how you track it can make or break your mental health. You have to be mindful that when you're in moments or seasons of high levels of productivity, you also have to make time for mental rest. You don't want to overwhelm your brain, or at least not for long periods of time. How you track your productivity is also very important because you're able to tell when you're overloading yourself and trying to take on too much all at once. You want to make sure that your planning systems work well for you and your lifestyle, because the wrong planning system will leave you feeling overwhelmed and unproductive. The system that currently works well for me is to use a mixture of planning tools. I use my digital calendar on my phone with reminders for everything personal. I use Google Calendar as a weekly overview, and I use a printout of my daily planner from my brand, Plan Design Co., so I can really focus on the important business tasks that I have to do throughout the day. If you don't have an evergreen daily or weekly planner yet, I highly suggest that you check mine out in the description below. Offloading your to-dos from your brain to a planning system can really help to clear some mental space and reduce stress. But as you do each task, remember to pace yourself and not get pulled into doing too much. I'm the type of person who believes that we all have a soul, and that soul needs to be nourished. Now, I'm not going to preach to anybody, but there are many ways to connect to yourself as a spiritual being and connect to your greater purpose with the world around you. Whether you're reading about a higher power, praying, meditating, or going out and admiring nature, these are some things you can do to help deepen your understanding of your wider purpose in the world around you and feed that spiritual part of yourself. So just to recap, if you've been focused only on one aspect of self-care, try to take the time to reevaluate your routine and your needs as a multifaceted person. At the end of the day, the goal is to have a holistic self-care routine that supports your overall well-being and helps you thrive. Building habits that last is the key. And with that, you need to have systems in place that support you. If you go on Pinterest, you'll see a ton of self-care inspiration. But the point is not to do self-care activities just for the sake of it. The point is to know yourself and your lifestyle and build a self-care routine that fits within it. Now, to do so, there may be some things that you do every day and others that you do on a weekly or monthly basis. You need to be able to know your capacity and work around it. Otherwise, you'll end up being sporadic with your routine or stop doing self-care activities altogether. If you've read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, you'll know that he makes some pretty good points. When it comes to building self-care habits, or habits in general, it's best to start small with one habit and add more gradually as you go. This allows you to maintain consistency with your habits as you build out your whole routine. He also mentions that it becomes much easier to build a habit when you link it to a habit that you've already established. For example, say you've gotten really good at brushing your teeth before you go to bed. You can then integrate a new self-care activity by saying, after I brush my teeth right before bed, I'll wash my face. See, I didn't say, after I've brushed my teeth right before bed, I'll do my whole skincare routine. Because James says to keep the first action as simple as possible. From there, you might find it very easy to grab your toner after you've washed your face. But keeping the original action simple makes it much more likely that you'll actually complete the task. Building habits takes time. That's just how it goes. But if you try your best to remain consistent, you'll see the lasting results you want over the long term. One thing about life is that change is inevitable. And with that, our routines have to evolve with us. Some of the things that worked for you when you were 15 are not going to work for you when you're 25. But some things will. It's all about adapting where necessary and not fixing what's not broken. We also learn a lot of new things as time goes on. So you don't necessarily want to stay stagnant in your routine if you've learned how to do something better or more effectively. It's in giving your self-care routine room to evolve that you'll stick with it throughout your lifetime and keep it as a priority. Speaking of keeping it a priority, you cannot expect to do your self-care routine only after you've burnt out. This is a big no-no. First of all, if you're feeling burnt out, you're probably not feeling like going through a whole self-care routine. But that's not even the point. The point is that if you maintain a good self-care routine that fits within your lifestyle, it should help to prevent burnout in the first place. What you pour from an empty cup is air. It's half-hearted. If you're focused on showing up as your best self for everything else and everyone else, you also need to prioritize showing up for yourself. It needs to be built in. It needs to be mandatory. You can't negotiate with a cold if you get sick. You'll have to take the time to rest anyways. So why not have it pre-built in your routine in more optimal ways, instead of your body shutting down when you need to be the most present? By prioritizing self-care as a non-negotiable part of your life, you'll not only recharge your energy, but you'll also ensure that you're fully present for the other people and commitments that matter the most. It's no secret that you have amazing things to offer the world. So make sure you're taking the time to nurture yourself so you can show up. Remember, when you prioritize your well-being, you empower yourself to show up even brighter. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Keep prioritizing your self-care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!